Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's currently 7:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm also looking up. PureRef has like a maximized screen, but not like a full screen. Like you can still see the taskbar. And this. Why can I? Do you guys hear that? Is it transferring audio for the first time? No, ew. My laptop doesn't have, like, I permanently turn audio off because, like, the worst thing you can do is to have your laptop make a noise in lecture or something. That's just super embarrassing. So I have it, like, permanently turned off. But I think with my screen share, it, like, re-enabled it or something. But anyways, who cares? That's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about computers. We're here to draw. So once again, hope you guys had a good day so far. And if not, well, guess what? We get to warm up for the next 10-ish minutes, usually like more than that, but and then draw. And I consider both of those things to be very fun. So let's get started. Yeah, probably the best 2 days I've had of this entire semester. I went out, I did chores. I've been really good about like mental health stuff. I've been very patient with myself, and okay, I'm losing my patience with this little desk thing that I always fight with. I got work done though, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Sure, I could have like done a specific thing differently today and been a bit more productive, but who cares? I'm not all about that. I made a smoothie, got cold because I drank the smoothie, and then made ramen because I was cold and then got warm. Like, that's a crazy setup. Bit of a weird combo. It wasn't back to back. It takes me a while to make ramen because I make the boiled eggs and stuff. But man, that was a good choice. Got working on my bird. My bird cam's been down, or not the camera itself, but the thing that notifies me when birds show up. Fixed that, or somewhat fixed it. It's still having some issues. Everything I'm making is working right now. I'm getting good grades back on exams. Sure, call it the calm before the storm. Who knows, right? But like, instead of being, oh, well, it's going to get bad at some point, which could be true. I'm just kind of, okay, this is great. And that has made me enjoy my days a lot more. While still being productive, while still getting a lot done. And maybe, in fact, getting more done than if I worried every single second. And I have some heavier assignments due and stuff, but overall, things are looking okay right now. I think one of the best signs for me that like times are good, man. You could barely see that. It's so white. The biggest sign for me that times are good is that I have a lot of time to draw in the day, or like I drew a lot today, and I drew a lot in between programming, like waiting for stuff to train and load. I just drew in between, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Speaking of, I also watched some more Broken Draws today. I try not to watch too much Broken Draws. Not that he's a bad YouTuber or anything. He's an awesome art YouTuber. Very practical, very concise. Not trying to like hold you there to an arbitrary minute mark for ad revenue. No, I will say, like, Broken Draws does what every art YouTuber or just any tip YouTuber has to, or like education. It's like 5 tips. I just have a knee-jerk reaction, be like, you know, the word 5 tips to become a successful influence. Like, yeah, I kind of have an ick with that, but you got to do it, right? Like, that's how the algorithm works. Anyways, not hating on Broken Draws at all. In fact, really love his content. Really love all of the stuff he says. And I watched, and I have to be careful because whenever I consume a lot of like, I don't know, educational content or like tip content, I guess you could say, like, here's how to do this better, I can end up like spiraling and watching so much of that stuff that I get very, as Brent Everson said, I don't know. Anyways, said, you know, when theory outstrips performance. Marshall Vandross said that too. And so like I get all these critiques of myself, but like I'm not actually drawing. I'm just like being super self-critical, or like if I do draw, then I'm like, oh, this is wrong, I didn't do this. Or it can make me feel like overwhelmed and like I have to change 80 things about my life to fulfill this arbitrary definition of being an artist. It's the same kind of like turmoil I felt in when I was like super into the self-help sphere and stuff, which was ironically like pretty bad for me. Not, and I'm not saying like whoever's in the self-help sphere is bad or evil or they're not going to get anything from it. No, it's just I did it to a degree that was detrimental, and so I feel like I'm prone to that in really every other. Like whenever the what is it called, imposter syndrome and FOMO and stuff. Whenever I watch like coding and like job interview stuff for programmers, or like when with the gym stuff. So in moderation. But anyways, all this to say, I watched Broken Draws. Really love his content. And I watched his I think it was 6 Habits That Make a Better Artist. That's not the direct title, but like 6 Habits You Should Pick Up, where he covers like drawing the little figurines, which I liked a lot. Choosing use brush pen, pocket sketchbook, stuff like that. And then his 25 exercises. I've actually watched his 25 exercises video before, but this time I was at it with a more like note-taking eye. I wrote some stuff down. I'm going to start applying some of those warm-ups / exercises. They're more so exercises, but you'll see a lot in line with Drawbox warm-ups, especially like organic forms, because Kim Jong-gi and I guess like I'm not sure who like was like organic forms first, right? Because we had Peter Han, and I think he even mentioned Zeph Draws maybe talked about the organic forms. I can't remember. Zeph Draws, I've also bought his warm-up sheets, which I really appreciate. I have them tucked away somewhere, which I've referenced from time to time. But I was like, why not? Why not do some more? Because like we do a box, a sausage form, and a string of ellipses, which are some of the warm-ups. But like let's branch out a little bit. Get wacky, get different. Yep, excited for today's stream as well. It's starting to get that cozy fall winter feeling. Unironically, whenever I think of like being cozy now in the fall, or like whenever I start stream, I get that feeling. I'm like, because like there were some really hard semesters during these winter streams, and so like the notion of it being like cold outside, I had a rough day, but now I get to warm up inside. Put my sweater on, sweatpants, comfy socks, and just draw and just hang out. That is a blessing to me during the winter. And has made many a bad day good. It's such an ending. So I have like remnants of that now, and I'm glad that of my college experience, while some days have been harsh, I get to take away some really good stuff. In fact, I moved apartments from my apartment of 2 years, my sophomore and junior years of college, to this new one, and sometimes I drive past it though. And although it was 2 years, which I'd still wager is a longer time, especially for someone my age, that's what, almost a 10th of my life. Right? Yeah, okay. I know, sorry. Weirdly nostalgic for it, even though I like remember telling myself explicitly, like, you better not look at these days fondly. Like these were tough days full of a lot of stress and anger. But like, firstly, who would wish that upon themselves? I understand that we wish to remember like the things that have scorned us and made our lives more difficult to prevent them, right? And so like we taste bad food and we like associate that with an event or something, whatever. But like I can't help but just be fond of those memories, especially with my roommates, my former roommates. Thinking about us just kicking back in the kitchen or in one of their rooms just talking about stupid, nonsensical stuff. Great memories. I couldn't tell you half of the things that I was like so stressed over. I could say at school, and that'd be true. That's 100% usually. But I couldn't tell you like what specifically that week or something. But I could tell you so many of the specific conversations we had, or just the moments we shared laughing. And so, in a way, while I am upset that like I've somehow forgotten how difficult college was, not really. I'm more thankful that despite those rough days, which in my memory, like outweighed the good ones. Or outnumbered, I should say. The good memories stay on top. I'd consider that a win. But it's rather the opposite with my freshman dorm. I actually walked in the same building as my freshman dorm the other day. I was like, "You, get me out of here!" Like I was like, literally, it was like a year compared to 2 years, and yet it felt longer than my time in my apartment with my roommates. And the biggest difference is one of those years I was drawing. The other 2 years, or I wasn't drawing. The other 2 years I was. I actually had a hobby outside of school. You know, freshman year I was literally nothing but schoolwork. Like I nothing. I really actually the end of the second semester I worked on a Gmod map, but like I really don't understand what I was doing all day other than schoolwork. Bit of a dent in that one. All right, let's do a warm up. We'll do the planes one. I like the stacking boxes one. That's my favorite. And I would say let's do like the cubes, but I feel like that'll take me too long for a warm up. So we'll do the planes. It's a very long plane. Now, my biggest thing with these, because I understand conceptually what's going on, is just I feel like my presentation sucks. So like we're over here now, but I feel like the gap should have been greater because we're not going to see like the VP is like right here-ish, so we're not going to see that much of a change. Once again, we are trying to build intuition. It's right here-ish. So I don't feel like it should have shrunk that much, right? So, but now the gaps are going to decrease because it's getting further away from us. But if I still made it further, is going to be like if I made the next plane further away from this one than this one is from this one, it would still look almost similar because the gap visually on the page is going to be smaller because it's further away. But let's try to push it. Actually, wait, should they share the same VP? And that was really off. Because we're rotating these, right? Like the analog for this is ellipses, right? So ellipse. Oof, that was way too tight. And the degree was much larger than it should have been. That's rough. That's really rough. Oof. But yeah, I feel like yeah, we're rotating the face. So would it share the same VP? No, the VP's moving. But if these are moving as well, then like in space, right? Oh, so I've been doing this wrong conceptually. No, because if we did this with planes, I mean, you could have both, but I'm not sure what the. But yeah, and here comes my other issue is like I draw these too long, so ideally. This, then we have this gap. Wait, I'm drawing it the wrong way. Dude, I suck at this. But that's good. Gets my brain going. So that should have been larger. Oof, larger because the degree's increasing. So we'll imagine that doesn't exist. This one's gonna be really far out. So yeah, fun little warm-ups, little brain games. I like them a lot. I have a lot of room to improve. But I think that I got our conceptual brain moving enough. So wow, lots of us, I apologize. We're gonna go into 2-minute ad break. Simple as that. Once we're back from 2 minutes of ads, we're going to continue working on our big cat skull, more specifically our Puma. But we're using this as a holotype specimen for all cats. But and probably like the domestic house cat would be better because it doesn't have those big old teeth. But on the like maxilla that we're struggling with. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, so cool. We're gonna go to. Oh, I said again. Dang it! I'm trying to stop that. Anyways, we're gonna go into 2 minutes of BRB, and yeah, you're back. Cool, we're back. And before I accidentally trigger an ad break, I'm going to move my mouse because I realized I left it hovering over the button. And if I press enter to change scenes, it'll hit you guys with an ad. So you got to be careful there. Cool. So yeah, we're going to head back here. And like we've been discussing. Okay. Did that show anything bad? Is the question. I hope not. That just gave my desktop name. But like, okay, it didn't show my IP. I saw the version thing and I thought that was my IP. So I'm not sure how bad it is that I showed my name. I need to change it. I can change it though. That's the thing. So hopefully it's like a pseudo random string of characters. I also don't know why it disconnected. That angers me so. So let's try to fix that real quick. Why did it do that? Thank you, Windows. Jeez. This is why I studio mode is good. I just don't like studio mode because it messes me up half the time. There we go. Okay. That. Oh, why is my mouse all messed up? Okay. There. Hopefully, I'm not. Man, that is so sketch every time. That stresses me out so much. So yeah, like we said, we're working on the Puma head. More specific, I want to know how to pan, dude. I'm like so close. Oh wait, control. Okay, alt. Nope. Space. What did alt do? Just like teleported away. Maybe control. No. Okay. FN. Nope. Both. Nope. Left click. Oh, left click and drag his pan. We figured it out. Cool. Okay. So yeah, we're figuring out the Puma skull. We stopped at the maxilla, and I specifically said I'm going to wait to draw this the next stream to make future Kavel mad, and past Kavel has successfully done that. Because yeah, this is a toughen because it's a triangular mass. We established and we'll start the timer. Why not? We do have class tomorrow, so that is not the right timer. There we go. I'm thinking about getting like a full-on keyboard to control the stream, even though that's like super excessive, but whatever. I just want something with a bunch of buttons on it. They don't even have to be labeled, right? Actually, probably if there's a lot more buttons. Anyways, we have a solid polygonal form going through here. Thank you, Colo. And so basically everything from right here, where I'm deeming the side of the maxilla, we need to, one, expand the form at the nasal cavity to account for the premaxilla. We're going to ignore this tooth right here. See this like bumpy tooth form? We're going to treat it like it's not there. That's going to be an additive form. That's a perfect example of an additive form. And instead, I just want a like triangular form for this. Doing that. And so if we look back here, we remember that this is the fourth. We can actually go over here and look at our top view. This is a fourth, so we have a lot of good measurements. This is a good reference point for where the maxilla should start. And then yeah, I think I had it over here. Nope. Okay. I mean, this is a good example of what I kind of plan to do. This was two separate forms, but I think I'm just gonna do an additive form on top of the maxilla. Cola's getting loud with it. Sorry, my headphones are much louder than it's playing on stream. So, yeah. Now, the hardest part will probably be, I think I drew this last time. We're pretending that the form we drew takes up this much space, right? Or, I mean, it does. We say that is, yeah. Cool. So, I need to know how long this should be, right? I have good measurements for like, okay, this is a fourth, this is a fourth. But last time I checked, I don't think I have any good Y measurements. For things other than this. So I could, lots of I apologize, measure this in terms of dang it, more frick. I'm going to make a conscious effort and I won't complain every time. I'll just silently critique myself. Anyways, we could do it in terms of this middle part here. I don't even know what to call this. Our base form, I guess. Even though the... Ooh, I'm trying to remember the name. It has a P in it. Postorbital? No, postorbital is this stuff up there. What's this name? The parietal bone. There we go. The parietal bone, which, you know, the brain sphere, right? The part that holds the brain. That's our base form. But anyways, this polygonal form, polygonal base form, the one encompassing the front of the face, we could measure this in terms of that. And I'd say this is like probably 1.5 times that, which is a gross number. I don't like working with that, but it could work. Also, let me check something real quick. Dang it, more. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I guess measuring it to be 1.5 and guesstimating that. Because, like, what else can we do at the end of the day? Is there any more creative measurement of this? I don't think so. So we're going to hop over here. Continue our work on this. I apologize if you guys can barely see it. We're going to ink probably at some point with... It's probably one of my favorite, favorite ballpoints. I used to hate it a lot, but it's because I wasn't using it correctly. I was just like... I wasn't thinking about what I was putting on the page. And this like pen benefits from very coordinated strokes. I guess every pen does, right? What I could use as a person, every time I say in chat, I'll make a bot and it puts to like mock me. I'm like, frick. So yeah, here's our center part. So we want to do 1.5 times this at the... So 1, 2, and it's going to get longer as it gets closer to us. I also forgot how much of a mark this pen makes. We're going to extend that outwards this. So I'd consider this another unit of that. Yeah, my initial guess was pretty spot on. Say that dot I just made. Cool. And so we have a bit of a cheat code. Kind of, maybe not. Maybe I lied. We have this corner now, which is actually where the... Come on. What is it called? Zygomatic bone. I didn't have to look at it. I didn't. I mean, I went over there, but I remembered it as I went to look at it. The zygomatic bone. It's kind of where it starts, though, which is a bit of an issue. I guess it's a good to do this triangular form there, though, because then we can be like doing additive forms off the side of it. Yeah, because we have to keep it simple, stupid, and simplicity will just inevitably result in that. But we have a problem. Because like I said, the maxilla, the nasal cavity has a larger plane in the front, so we'd be going out here. And then it goes in. So we could actually quite easily do that. I don't think that'd be too hard to create. This is like a pseudo lesson 6 thing. And let's see, that itself. I'd say it's about, look at that, yeah, see? It's about half to get to the edge of the nasal cavity, and then it pinches right at the 4th. So we start at the nasal cavity. We go out about a half unit, and we pinch back here. We're using a weird amount of guesstimation and actual like insight for this. But that's kind of what all drawing is, so. And hey, I'm just thankful I get to work with a ruler. Speeds things up a little bit when you don't have to ghost 80 times. No shade. No shade towards Drawbox. Not at all. Ghosting is awesome, and it's made my line work infinitely better. But it takes up time. You cannot deny that. Takes up time for sure. This looks kind of cool though. I cannot tell a lie. I can. I've lied to you guys so many times. My name isn't even Kavel. Me. Me. We're getting there though. And what's going on with the Chinathan? So checking sure my alt tab isn't evil. Oh no! It was. I alt tabbed and then it became evil. Yeah, we have this like dip. And we'll I hate it when this happens, you know? It's rather flat though. So thank you once again, Royal Alberta. Alberta. Wait, wait, it isn't. Now you guys can see the logo. This accidentally hides the logo, but there, so. Or maybe that wintry feeling I get when I start streams is also just because I started streaming in the winter. So it's just like very close to that. I don't know. I was thinking about thickening some of my lines. Also, I could tell this side of the head is a bit shorter, a lot shorter. So we'll fix that actually, because that will bother me. I was thinking about adding more line weight, but I think it would benefit me to wait. Because, well, I mean, this kind of proves my point. I drew something wrong. I need to erase it, more line weight, make it harder to erase. I drew something incorrectly. Is it correct to say you drew something wrong? People have talked about getting critiqued for saying I feel good, not I'm feeling well. I've never been critiqued for that. And if you guys start now, I will kill you. Yes. However, I will correct people if they use the wrong version of your, just because it's funny. I will correct people if they use the wrong version of 2, because that's just easy. That's easy to not get wrong. Especially if you use TWO when you shouldn't. That's insane. I could almost get behind TOO and TO, but misusing the big TWO is just no. Get a bit more. This thing is underrated. I've talked about how I loved it in the past, but I feel like I don't shout it out as much as I should. Is this the one where Kolu like passes out from? Okay, no. Kolu doesn't actually pass out on any of these to my knowledge, but there's one where he like loops the horn just going. It's definitely I would consider experimental. And like it works for a while, but once you're like 5 minutes in, it's like, oh, oof. Cool, we're back. In fact, I'm going to erase. Look at that. Two-handed. Or one-handed. I decrease. Whatever. Hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, or something. I don't know. So yeah, this we're going out to the 1.5 mark, which I've marked right here. And then from the pre-maxilla to that, then we have our additive form. Looks like we're pretty set up to do well here. My only concern is this part of the maxilla down here. Probably still saying maxilla wrong. Maxilla. I keep going maxilla. Maxilla. I work with computers, man. Don't expect me to get any of this right. There's not really a name on here for that other than just the maxilla to the zygomatic bone. And the post-orbital processes, which still I'm concerned about, but yeah, this is probably one of the most complicated structures to do on here. Because look at all that mass down there. My triangle is going to span like this. And I guess we'll tuck some mass behind it. Oh yeah, we could do that. I can kind of see it. Here, just to demonstrate what I'm thinking here for everybody. Show it to the class, type beat. Left click, move. Look at that, we're goated. Insane. I love this laptop. This has barely anything to do with a laptop, but wait, no, dang. How do I... There, print screen is in a weird place. I didn't even pay attention to the angle that I took the picture of. That sucks. That's not the picture I wanted. We will do... All of this kind of sucks. Whatever. Okay. We'll just do it like this, and I'll just draw X-ray. Or Modsy's X-raying. Oh. Did I just... I'm so scared. I need to make... Okay, I didn't expose any information doing that. Oh, I mean, you guys did see the name of one of my SSH keys, but like ID ED25519, like, yeah, who cares about that? Shoot, working on a laptop I use for school is just horrible. I need to stop doing this before I, like, famous last words, I like end up regretting it. Here's my full name and address, guys. here's the grade I got on my exam yesterday. You know, like, So, I forgot green isn't really the best option here, but so here's the triangle. Oh my god. Trackpad drawing is hard. So here's the triangle we're making. And then I propose a new one like this. Or at least a new additive form. Like such. I may not be keeping it simple stupid with this one, but I feel like that's probably the best way to go about it. I don't know. Make sure to leave a comment and like and subscribe if you think I should do it a different way. But for now, we'll stick to that. Sometimes I press my little scene transition buttons with my pencil and it makes me feel fancy. Okay, so here to here. Give me that ruler. So yeah, now we're like implying a very strange shape here, which I didn't even think of, but now we're kind of doing this. Is like we have this triangle, flat, very flat, but then we have this like this weirdness. And I don't know how to kind of make that seem more flat. But we're gonna leave it there because it still makes sense. And I'm keeping it simple, stupid. Anyways, back to the drawing board because we want to observe where the second form that we're gonna start placing is. See how it like lands here-ish? Let's zoom out a bit and then Alt Tab and get to our other one. Our above view. So now our newest one. Maybe right there. Zoom out a little bit too. Because it's such a weird form, man. I think because it juts out like sideways like this. What the frick? Tolu, give me a new song. Go. Maybe not. Deserve by Kolu's Cafe. It hangs outward. Which I didn't really account for. This kind of puts an error in my plans because I was talking earlier about how I want it to be an additive form. A triangle here, which I still think is like the best option. Keeping it simple. Stupid. Sorry for calling you guys that. And then we have a part that goes back. We kind of curve back. So in fact, this could be argued to instead of being like this, we ignore the blue for now. Use some red. We're doing this. I forgot. Wait, I can make drawing a little bit easier with a trackpad. There we go. Just drawing through to help me see it. Just the problem is, sure, this face is there, but then what about this additive part? And trying to do an additive form on top of that triangle? Very difficult. And like, I understand how this like caves over, but that's an additive form. We'll worry about that later. I'm going to address this very organically. Or maybe not. Actually, yeah, it'd be nice to not address that organically, because now we have our triangle to work with. It's concave right there. The infraorbital, what is it called? Infraorbital foramen. Foramen. I almost said abdomen. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not an abdomen. Like looking at right here, there's a slight triangle. Now that I'm seeing it like this, though, this, like, if you cut it right here, and like, I can definitely see an additive form happening. Like, I could quite literally, and you can see it. I guess that's where the zygomatic bone fuses with the maxilla and frontal bone. Is this crease right here for those? And I can pan now, too. This is freaking epic. We're in there, dude. We're freaking no clipping inside of a Puma skull. How many streamers have said that before? So yeah, I can see the dual triangle tech happening here, and then I don't know what to represent this whole additive mass. Like this, I guess, can be another triangle. But that's the thing. I see like this outwards. This is just calling to me. So I guess yeah, okay. I'm gonna call this a basin for now. The infraorbital foramen is a basin. Cool. How do we represent a basin with simplified forms? Okay, we're gonna do the dual triangle thing, the red triangle, the red version. And then I guess along the red we'll... I guess my goal isn't to make this a total basin. What part of me is thinking now is instead of this blue, what we were originally doing, um, since this comes at us, right, the zygomatic bone, I'll zoom out a bit. This. We have this like torus wedge thing. I'm imagining it's just flat right here. Where does this end? This ends a little bit into maybe 3/8 of the skull ish. So for now, we'll just be silly, be stupid, connect it like this. Ah, something like that. It's a weird shape, but it's the only one I can imagine doing everything that this is doing now. Unless we just want to do it a planar feature and call it that. Like extend the line of this triangle that exists right here and out plane here. That's gonna annoy me. But I don't think I can easily crop. Never mind, I got it. Wow, that's so extra. Anyways, so we have our existing triangle. This is just like the green triangle now. Be consistent. And then we go to here, where the zygomatic meets the maxilla. And for the remainder, then, we continue. This is the planar approach, so not doing like a solid form for this. Oh. But the intersection won't necessarily be happening at the edge of the triangle. I think more accurately, it'll be happening on the inside. Because yeah, if our triangle ends right here, then this is where our planes are going to intersect. We're going to have a flat plane here. So yeah, this more realistically. Consistent width on pure F drawing tools is a bit hard. Oh. Wait. This means oh, don't do that. Don't. I'm so sorry. Don't do whatever I just did. Just gonna act like it's not happening. Something like that. It's gross. It's tough, but we'll figure it out. But for now, we're going to do the reverse triangle. That second triangle ends, like we said, an eighth, 3/8 into the head. No. That was where that is. But this, I'd say, I'd wager. Yeah, I'd say wager practically to the center of the head. So we'll oversimplify that. This is hard, man. This is tough. So here's our eighth. We'll move it a bit to the left. So this is where the zygomatic basin, it's definitely the infraorbital foramen slash zygomatic basin is what I'm calling it, happens. The height of the basin is also something to concern myself with. It's not that deep, but if we're going to make it entirely flat, because I don't want this whole thing to be like cavernous, I'd consider like this the bottom of it. So if we go over here and map out some heights of things, this is hard to read. This is a great landmark to have, but I don't necessarily know. I don't really have a good reference other than the parietal lobe over here. That's I think what I've been using for heights. This like it doesn't land nicely on any of these existing heights that I have. It's almost halfway on this one. That's the closest thing I can compare it to. That's the height of the nasal cavity, the basically the bottom of the skull to that. And we also know where this starts. It starts a little bit less than an eighth, right? Yeah. It's actually more so near an eighth. We'll give it that. There we go. Nice. Take a quick sip of water while I think about this. A lot of brain activity this stream, which is rare for me. Already. Oh, and then height wise, yeah, we said it's this very strange. So here's our here's our nasal cavity. And this is the halfway point. We're a bit up, so guesstimating about right there. And we can actually take that line. Find where it intersects the other heights too. Actually, it's practically in the middle of this center one right here. I just don't. I do not know if that's the right way to go. Something's in my eye right now, and I've never had an itchier eye in my entire life. It's the end, it's over. So this is the line right here. Not that you guys can see it. Of where the maxilla will connect height-wise. And we have a weird tangent line happening right here, which is kind of messing me up mentally. We'll why did I use this line? I should have used the center line. There we go. Get rid of these. Yeah. Those lines are very off. Will it end during? Yeah, because if our inner triangle goes to the halfway point, which it does, hits a little bit of this. It seems a bit too thin in our drawing, but whatever. If it does this, and this one stops about right here, then yeah, it's going to feel much earlier. This is hard. I'm gonna keep staring at it until it makes sense. That typically doesn't work. Okay, we have this plane. We're gonna stretch off. Doesn't seem right, but I'll stick with it, I guess. Okay, now we have to play the game of how far does it go out, which we said is a weird number. Actually, it's practically the size of this, so we'll just copy that over. But now that it's getting further away, it's harder to guesstimate what that size is like. Hopefully that's good enough. And that's actually going to be in the air. This is weird. Oh, frick. Not sure how I feel about this one yet. Give you guys a bit of a close-up of what we're doing before the camera breaks. God, why does it do that so much? Some cooler. Stop it. Why does it do that? It's so weird. Cool stuff going on. Just quite hard to... I don't know, visualize. Put together. Oh, wait. We'll keep it. I think I'm suffering from complexity right here. Also, I feel like, I don't know, there's so much room right here. Yet here it feels like there's none. None whatsoever. Got too hasty with my lines. Forgot this is a completely straight line. Cool. Thickening up some lines because I want to see it better. Cool. Okay. So we have that going. This bottom mass. I want to play the game of how the hell do I make the rest of it? Starting from right here-ish. We got this just absolute nonsense over here. Look at me acting like that was the hardest part of this. Dude. Screw zygomatic bones. Why do pumas have to have those like really cool cheekbones? Look at that. Look at that, dude. I forgot I had this one. Look at that contour. I would make a joke about looks maxing or mewing or something, but I don't have it in me right now, so that's me referencing is the best you're gonna get. So I went for this weird planar approach. The zygomatic. Sounds like a Daft Punk lyric. Where's the height of it? Or like the rest of the zygomatic bone. We're like cut in the middle here. See this? Almost the middle. Maybe a little bit lower. But that's where this part resides. This is definitely, I want to reduce to 2 points. Let's hop over here. Back to the workstation. Where's our top down? Our top down, so we're stuttering, but we're also right here. This has such an angle though, dude. Was I high? This has such an angle. And that's like half a head's length, so like ideally that's half a head's length. Then we need to be out like right here. that. And I'm also getting very heavy with my marks, so I need to sharpen a little bit and be a bit more mindful. And let's do some tapping with our kneaded eraser. I'm sorry, you're not in the zoomed view, but I don't think. Here, if you really want to see me tap the page with a kneaded eraser a little bit. Nice. This line needs to be cleaned up a bit too. I like playing the game of how many tools can Kavel hold at once. Nice. Let's be more mindful this time. Sharpen. Ah, that wasn't a, we need to go for a bit of a sharpen. I'm just so freaking scared of like overdoing it with this stuff. Hopefully that's enough. This is a lot less dusty. Oh, I just realized. Let me see your rate. And I guess it's because this pen is more malleable that it doesn't do that as much. It's softer. Take another sip of water. Okay. Where did this dot come from? Eh? It's getting messy because of the parietal lobe, parietal bone of the lobe. Some days I think I just don't vacuum enough every week, so I'd pull out the actual eraser instead of the kneaded one. Alrighty, we're getting close, come on. For the shape now, we'll go back to the studio. So yeah, we're supposedly right here. Oh, that is not the right button. This green's a bit harder to see, and I apologize, but so yeah, we want to do this. Look at this is gonna turn out nice, guys. So we're imagining we're right here. And I'm assuming that just, yeah, we make contact. Trying to zoom out far enough. make contact somewhere there in the infraorbital or the parietal. And let's see. That wasn't a real stutter. Okay, that was a real stutter. um, this, and then we chop this into another half. Never mind. Doesn't feel like we have enough room over there, but if I do it like right here. Could we stretch things to say that we go right there? We're actually going to end up much lower, though. Because the parietal lobe isn't on the floor, yet I drew it into the floor. I consider, like, you know, this more flat part of the bottom. But as we can see, the maxilla goes below that. I heard a weird noise. It's my laptop chugging. I don't know what it's doing that's so difficult. I guess streaming, but who knows? Um. Yep, I guess we go a quarter. We're gonna keep it simple, stupid with that triangle type beat. How far does this go out? This is the furthest point from the head. Oh, look at that. I've guesstimated that well. It looks like to be this distance again, which was 1.5. So we have 1.5, 1.5, 1. Which some of those out there will know that that adds up to 4. Yeah. So 4 center lengths. I'm going to call that a center length. 4 center lengths. I didn't really bring this part out to a full head though, but whatever. Yeah. Cool. So from this point, we're going to make that triangle. It's going to go out from the halfway mark to there. We have the coordinate. Let's put it on the page. Oh, height. Yes. Because it does raise up, doesn't it? Yeah, it goes from here to here. Just a little bit above the halfway point. So we'll guesstimate it to be, that's one, about right here. And then we just project it outwards to be four of these. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gonna get longer than 4. That's a lot. That is excessive, even. Oh wait, no, we're not gonna go. Yeah, it's an absolute measurement. Because if this is correct, I guesstimated what right here? I'm one for these cheekbones, but that's a lot. that's excessive. We'll move it back a tiny bit. Like literally the tiniest bit. Because if we projected tip of this backwards. That barely goes over 1.5 heads lengths. Even though that should be at this point. Oh, wait, no. Because we're doing it from right here. So that almost... Screw it. We'll go with that. So yeah, the form that we're going to draw is going to go from right here to here. It's like right here to here. And it starts a little bit lower than the halfway mark between those two. So we have this height. Okay, now we need to figure out where it lands. Just like it was said, it goes over here, almost to the quarter, which we actually don't have a measurement for that, but we know we're near the end over here. So I'll claim this is F this, so I don't really know, but I said it's right there. Frick. Because we're gonna be looking kind of almost straight down this new form. That part of my brain's like, just do it. Just freaking, oh, yeah, sorry. It's like, just draw it already. Meh. It's really, really kicking at me right now, but we're gonna be better than that. I think my parietal bone is too big, though. Because, yeah, I said it meets right here. So let me guesstimate about right here. So, yeah, that's somewhat correct. Yo, what's up, Icy Boy? Welcome, welcome. How's it schmoovin', my guy? You watched Gizmo? I did not. And I do not plan to. But I do hope you've had a good day. Good couple days. Fair. Other than Gizmo the Destroyer, have you watched anything interesting? Any cool stuff you would like to share with the class? It remains kind of at this point. It actually doesn't raise that high, doesn't it? Jojo, oh shoot, which part? See if we look at it from this angle, the post-orbital processes block it. But we are looking at it more from this angle. But yeah, once again, we're just kind of looking straight at it. So made it to part 3. Oh man, part 2 and part 3. I mean, it's really hard to pick my favorite when it comes to JoJo's. Part 4, 5, 3, and 2. They're all so great. Each in their own ways. Part 3 is a classic. Everybody you can't go wrong. Part 4, I feel like more than most. Part 5, I feel like is a bit of the overrated one. It's good. It's great. But man, people like, oof. And you've read some of the Steel Ball Run? Huge. Yeah, and that's getting animated. Isn't that coming out like 2026? Your friend likes part 5. Reasonably. Like, that's the thing. It is extremely good. Just like, ugh. People talk about it so much. And that's probably why I like part 4 a little bit, because like I don't hear too many people talking about part 4. But I like it quite a bit. But that's the thing, each has their own great parts about them. So to say one is completely better than the other is be reductive, because I feel like each offers a bit of a different experience. Part 6, I think the manga is great. I don't like the anime adaptation. Animation, Pacing is just kind of weird to me. Like the end felt just rushed compared to like how much time was spent in the prison. But I may be trolling on that. And I will say no more because I just realized I'm getting close to spoiler territory. I haven't spoiled anything. But I ought to be hush hush. In fact, I think we made some decent progress today. I think we'll wrap it up here because the rest is additive form, I think. We're going to do I think next stream we're going to do the infraorbital processes, including the frontal bone up here. And then we don't really have much to do to decorate the back of the skull, other than maybe some of this nonsense back here that's still being covered. No, yeah, it's covered by the lower jaw. I like in the anime when it changes a lot of color randomly in scenes. I like that a lot too, especially in part 3. I'm not sure if you've gotten there, and I'm not going to say it, but there's a point in part 3 where like literally every other frame, okay, not every other frame, but every other scene change is a different color. It's awesome. Okay, and yeah, looking at it from this angle, we will see some mess back here. I'm not sure how accurate we want to be, but we definitely need to capture this. So post-orbital processes with the frontal, maybe showing the area where the nasal cavity is and doing the additive forms for that. Additive form for the tooth, and yeah, whatever this is back here. What is that called anatomically? That's the interparietal bone. Okay, interparietal. Okay, and then occipital bone, which connects to the I'm assuming like spine stuff right here. There's that hole in the back, right? Yeah. Are you thinking about doing art professionally or just as a hobby? It's definitely going to remain probably on the hobby side for the rest of my life. I may at some point be like, I'll draw a commission for money, but like, I don't want to rely on it, if that makes sense. Like, I always want to be like, I have the choice to or not to do it with my art. I want to be able to say no. I never want to feel pressured to draw because I have to. I can do that with computer science because I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the joy in computer science is just making something, right? It's solving any problem. And I feel like I can be a lot more happy with solving any problem with engineering. Meanwhile, art, it's definitely more of a me thing, right? There's a lot of me that goes into this. Not that there's not a lot of me that goes into engineering or that engineering isn't an art. It is. I don't know. I just feel like a problem is a problem in engineering, but a problem in art is one that involves a lot more of me. But maybe that's just because of how I was brought up as an engineer and stuff. But yeah, so we're gonna end it here. Sorry, Icy Boy, you joined right at the very end. I apologize. We're getting out of here before I'm forced at gunpoint to watch Gizmo the Destroyer. But no, yeah, very good night, very chill night. Once we finish the skull, maybe in a stream or two, we'll either go back to the gravel drawing or we'll start lesson 6. I actually realize I need to start reading the lesson 6 material and stuff between here and then. So yeah, once again, thank you all for joining me tonight. It's been a blast. I'm really excited to finish this one, see what we do with it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be a shame. I'm going to take a picture of it and like a good picture once we're done with the undersketch with the construction, because this construction is really cool looking. And I'll try to upload it as the thumbnail. I couldn't scan it last time, but I have an idea of getting a better picture of it this time. Yeah, so we'll be streaming Wednesday, probably Thursday if I'm feeling like it. We'll probably be streaming almost every day this week. We'll see when I want to take a break. I'm not really disincentivized to do so. Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us, Icy Boy, tonight, and I cannot wait to see anybody tomorrow. Bye for now.